Hello, my name is Ashley Ehlers, and I am the Director of Outcomes and Training for Bierman ABA. I'm going to be talking about our initial assessment process and how we are going to be conducting those via telehealth. First, welcome to Bierman ABA. We are really passionate about serving children with special needs and their families, and we are really excited to get to know you and your family. So before we begin services, we always conduct an initial assessment to learn more about your child's current skill set, their needs, and your family's needs. So we'll be conducting these via Zoom with the clinical lead of the center. The clinical lead is going to conduct a parent interview and a few different assessments, and then they will also conduct some direct testing via telehealth with your child. I'll go over the process in a little bit, but these are going to be conducted via a few different sessions. After the initial assessment is complete, we will write up a report for you with our clinical recommendations and also our initial treatment plan. This treatment plan is going to detail the goals that we would want to target with your child during the first 6 months of treatment. So before I get into the process, I just want to touch a little bit on the Zoom software that we use for these assessments. Many of you might be familiar with this at this point, but if not, I just want to go over a few quick basics. So first, you're going to get an email invitation to the appointment, and it'll look like this when you open it up. And you're just going to click on the Zoom link towards the bottom to open the appointment. So when you open Zoom, you'll see either one of these screens. Sometimes a little drop down comes down and says, do you want to open this application? You can click yes. Sometimes you'll get the second screen like at the bottom where it says it's launching, but nothing really happens after 5-10 seconds. So then you can click the click here button that is pointed to, or sometimes, if you haven't used Zoom before, you'll need to download it. So you can click the download and run button towards the bottom. Okay, and so then once you hit that, you're gonna have a few more options. So first you'll get this little preview box, like at the top left, and then you'll just click join with video. And then after that, you're gonna get the second box, which will give you your audio options. So I believe Zoom defaults to the computer audio, and so that's why that blue button is highlighted. And so if you just wanna use computer audio, you'll just click that, and that'll be fine. If there's something going wrong with your computer audio, or you prefer to be on the phone, you can then just click the phone call and it'll toggle over and it'll give you these options. So you'll just pick one of those phone numbers, anyone is fine. You'll call, it'll ask for a meeting ID, and so that is the number listed at the bottom, and that'll connect you through your phone with the video. And so this is what you'll see after that. So you'll be able to see yourself, and then when the other person joins, then you'll switch and be able to see their face. And so the one thing I want to mention is at the bottom, you'll be able to see, how many participants are there. So if it's just you, you'll see the 1. And then when the clinical lead joins, you'll see, 2. And then there's also options at the bottom left for, turning off your video if you need to, or muting your audio, or even switching from the phone back to the computer. There's a couple different things you can do. And then when you are done with the meeting, you can just hit the leave meeting button at the bottom right. All right, so the initial assessment process. So the very first step is you're going to connect with your clinical lead. They will send you a link to the first Zoom appointment. But they will also send you a few consent forms. We have a few different forms that need to be signed in order to conduct this process via telehealth. Then during the first session, the first thing you'll do is a parent interview. So this will be a questionnaire where we kind of walk through and talk about the different skills that your child does demonstrate right now, some things that you would like to see them demonstrate in the future, maybe some challenging behaviors that you're experiencing, some areas that you'd like parent training on. It's pretty comprehensive, so we can talk about anything. And then they'll conduct a few indirect assessments. One is the Vineland assessment. So you'll be able to, after it's done, get some information on the different skills your child has and what their developmental level is for all of those. And then before the session ends, the clinical lead will review what will be tested in session 2. And this is going to be different for every child. It's going to depend on their ability levels and just what things the clinical lead feels like they need to see. And so that'll be, like I said, varied and different. And so after going through the interview and the indirect assessments, they'll be able to identify what they need to see for session 2. So for session 2, that is also going to be conducted via video conference. And we're going to get creative and try to do a little direct testing via telehealth. And so for this, we'll just use some of the toys that you have at home that your child already likes to play with. And if appropriate, we'll provide some electronic resources. And so after session 2, there might be an opportunity to get some additional videos recorded and sent to our clinical lead. So depending on what happens in session 2, or if there's something that comes up that we weren't able to see, or the session had to be cut short, or just there's lots of different scenarios. We might ask to see a certain situation or routine recorded that we can then review later. And then the last step is reviewing the results. So like I said, when this whole process is done, you'll have an initial assessment report with clinical recommendations and a treatment plan with those goals for the first 6 months. And so when that's all complete, the clinical lead will call you or set up another Zoom appointment to review those results and recommendations in person, well, as in person as we can right now. And then also talk about different timelines for, the potential to restart, in-center services or to provide parent training in the interim. All right, so for direct testing, this is going to be that second session, and it's going to focus on observing some of your child's skills. The clinical lead will review what materials might be needed for this session. Like I said, a lot of it's just going to be typical things you already have in your home. Depending on the situation and the child, the clinical lead might be able to ask questions directly to your child, through the computer, essentially, or they might have to ask you to assist a little bit with testing. They also might ask just to observe 5 to 10 minutes of just typical play or typical interactions between you and your child. So testing with electronic resources might come up. And so what the clinical lead might do is just pull up a few computer pictures on their computer and then share their screen so you'll be able to see them, and ask your child some questions or ask you to repeat them to your child. They'll definitely use information from that first session where they interview you to kind of tailor their questions or materials to, your child's current abilities. And so I have a few examples. So they might pull up a picture of this chair and just say, oh, what is it? Or what color is it? They can also pull up pictures or videos of actions and say like, oh, what is she doing? Or she is playing with, and trail off and kind of look for that, fill in the blank kind of question. Another option would be something like this, where they pull up a few pictures on the computer and ask a question such as, find me something you eat, or find the crackers, or point to the thing you sit on. So they'll be able to ask that question, or maybe have you ask it. And then when the child responds, you'll just have to let them know if they were able to select the correct item or not. And then testing with toys. So the clinical lead might ask you to take out a few toys, maybe flashcards if you have them at home, or books, and just have ask your child a few questions. They'll definitely coach you through like how we want the questions to be phrased or which toys to use. Again, it won't be anything overly intensive, and it's really important to see each child's abilities with kind of in their natural environment and with the toys they normally like to play with. So it'll be a pretty easy thing to get a few trials in. And then just like I said, this is going to be important information for us in identifying things that your child is really good at and maybe often initiates to at home, and then what are some things that they're like working on or that are emerging at home. And then for recording videos, there might be, just certain skills, situations, or routines that we can't see during testing, or it's just not the right time, or maybe even certain things that you'd really like us to see. So we have more information when we write our treatment plan goals. And so for these scenarios, you can record some videos and send them to us. The videos can definitely be short, 5 to 10 minutes in length is, perfect duration. And then, like I said, we'll probably be looking for, typical play and typical interactions with you, or, if they have siblings, or interactions with siblings. But your clinic lead will definitely get into more detail about what specifically they're looking for, if anything. Okay, and so now I have just maybe like a 1-minute mashup of just some activities that you could take videos on at home. So you can take videos of things like this, like different gross motor activities. How are they going up a ladder, down a slide? Did they run around outside? Maybe some what we call like joint intention activities, back and forth play. Do they get into lots of stuff at home? Are they pretending with anything? Or, do you guys sit down together? Can you work on activities together? Do they allow you to give them different toys, or maybe they want to, keep all the items to themselves? Just all of this can be really good information for us about their ability to play and share and, manipulate toys and items. So really, we're just looking for, kind of what you guys typically like to do at home, and what toys your child likes to play with. Okay. So that's about it. That's just a brief overview of the whole process. Like I said, we're really excited to get to know you and your child, and get this whole process started. So if you have any specific questions in terms of your child or the center your child might attend, reach out to that clinical lead, who might have even given you the link to this, or has already set up that appointment, so you can reach out to them. But if you have something more general that you'd like help with in regards to this, you can also use our telehealth at biermanaba.com email address, and we can either answer your question or forward you to the person who can. All right, thank you.